Season on the line for Samsung. If they lose here, they will be out. They will be playing in the Worlds qualifier, so still big things to play for in a couple of weeks' time. But if they've got anything special, now's the time to show.
Yeah, now the Gnar out too. That Cuvée played for 2 solo kills on Sunday's Echo in game number 1 of this series.
Gragas banned.
So I assume GP is going to be the last ban here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
KT.
So
Do they have to ban Echo here as the final pick? They're going to ban the Rek'Sai.
all right, I don't really know what that does. Ambition wants to take Elise, and they want to force Score maybe onto something. Well, usually Score would default to Kindred in this particular situation, but that has not been as successful the later we go into the season. So interestingly enough, Score hasn't had the biggest Trundle. Wow, they're just going to go straight for the Trundle here. Huh.
Here's a flex pick. Chani can obviously pick it up as well.
Well, this has been banned in the last couple of games by Samsung because they know Cuvée doesn't have a big carry pool outside of GP. So he's going to be playing some kind of tank.
And tank Echo. Do you really think that's the way to go?
I mean, it has lane pressure in a lot of lanes. Of course, it's no guarantee that someday we'll be taking it into the top lane, the Trundle that is, so I think it's fine. It could be the Shen as the pick here, it's worth noting, as Shen is also available.
I don't think you're going to play Shen into the Trundle. They did that in their last match on Saturday.
They could play Shen into the Echo. That is an option for KT.
True. It's true. Now, are they going to take the Tahm Kench or are they going to take the Elise? Because Score will take that Elise. And why would you ban out 2 junglers when you're not going to take away Score's most played champion this season?
One can only wonder.
It's worth knowing that Gragas and the Rek'Sai have been a tier above the play on the Elise. The Elise has been the most played, but I've been more impressed with those 2 picks in particular, and his win rate on the Elise only around 57 to 60%. But I take your point. If you're going to attack so hard, why not go for the denial pick? Feels like Tahm Kench and Braum are pretty interchangeable in their roles, so actually prioritizing the Tahm Kench. I don't know if that gets you the same as it did on 6-14 when Braum was disabled.
Yeah, I wonder where Ambition's going to be going now.
Nidalee?
It's
Finally?
possible. Nidalee, maybe. He's had a couple games. But with those 3 banned and or picked, Graves would be his default. That would be his next most picked in the summer.
At least Vlad picked up for KT, so Fly again foregoing the Aurelion Soul. Sticking with the Vladimir that he played in game 1.
I think you just stick with what's been working for KT. At this point, if you can just take out the series without showing any new strategies, it leaves you an extra couple of points against what looks to be SKT on Friday.
Nami would be some good disengage, but then where would the Tahm Kench go?
Jungle, certainly a possibility. It's not outside of what is possible, but with the Graves locked in, that is certainly going to be the jungle pickup there, and probably Samsung going to be fishing for a karma.
No, don't do it. Well, part of me kind of says do it, but most of me says don't do it.
He gets 1 Draven a season, and he hasn't played Draven yet.
Yeah, you know, that is the scary thing.
Very good laning matchup against Sivir, but not realistic. What will KT go to?
I think the Shen makes sense. Okay, Shen, and will they actually log in the Kog'Maw? Lock in the Kog'Maw.
Got to log the cog.
Log it in.
Yep.
All right, well, the Callista with the Trundle would be interesting.
Well, Callista, pretty common
makes
counterpick to Sivir, as we've seen all this season. But so many options here available for KT. And with the standard lanes, Draven is definitely not as bad as it used to be.
Arrow's
Is it
like,
good?
Please let me play it.
Is this going to be the Arrow Draven
He
loss?
really wants the Draven.
Oh, it's Jhin. Or is it? It is. Okay. Oh, I was worried there for a second.
He gets 1 Draven game to lose a season.
Not this season.
KT has to. They might violate his contract if he doesn't get to play Draven soon. I mean, Worlds qualifiers, I guess they could be playing
you got
in.
a chance there.
Yeah, there you go. So Victor, now typically with this style of composition with Graves and Sivir, we'd expect to see a karma. But Victor would provide the more reliable wave clear.
Yeah, they're going to lock that in.
With Azir no longer his dominating self, I think Victor has been the most impressive performing champion for Crown, so I can understand going for it. I'm excited to see Graves on patch 615, in a patch where first brick gold is so important. A champion like Graves that can actually wave clear and take down turrets in a strong fashion, I think could make a resurgence, and we're still very much in the early days of 615.
Yeah, any ranged jungler, but Elise also fits the bill on putting down early lane pressure with the ranged auto attacks and the volatile spiderling. So they do Graves a little bit better, but Elise also doesn't have to reload. So a bit of a mixed bag between the two. But Samsung going for a very standard composition here. Great wave clear, great team fight damage, good throughout all phases of the game. So while they went for, I think, a little bit more scaling in game number 1, this time around, they've got some good early game presence at the very least.
I suspected this Shen pick. I thought they were going to take it. When they took Trundle first pick, you get a really safe Shen because now Samsung can't pick up the Shen because it's going to be shredded by the Trundle. Someday was really good on the Shen in game 1 of their series on Saturday, and he's the big playmaker in the early game because they don't really have someone that can follow Stan United. Echo definitely doesn't have that much of an interrupt either, so we could see some big Stan United plays from KT.
Yeah, certainly could. Samsung fighting for their tournament lives right now. They need to start the comeback now if it's going to start at all. KT looking to close this series out and get ready to fight SK Telecom on Friday. We'll see who takes game number 3. It's go time. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift. Ocean Drake again as we go into KT Rolster versus Samsung game number 3.
3 out of 3 Ocean Drakes to start us off. Well, Samsung, this is just, what do you say, pure comfort picks. Victor, Sivir, Graves. Of course, Ambition, probably his best champion on the year overall. Really did a lot of work with it in the spring season.
He hasn't played it a lot in summer, but is 3-1, so it's been good performances from him anyway.
It is his 4th most played, and when the other 3 were banned and/or picked first, we do see him sort of revert back to that.
You know, we've also seen Samsung get pretty much completely outplayed in every way tonight.
Surprised to see Cuvée not go for the fervor of battle. It was understandable in game 1 that someday in a difficult lane matchup went Grasp, but against Shen, why not go for the extra damage? Not worried about the trades not going away as much as you are in the Echo versus Nara matchup.
Well, I mean, does that say a lot about Cuvé's confidence right now? I think it probably does.
He's a tank-minded player. He doesn't look for the big dominance in lanes, so I take your point. Grasp does fit his identity, but certainly not going to apply a lot of pressure to the Shen.
Oh, but he does have to end up being probably more tanky in this game with the Graves in the jungle. Otherwise, it does leave the Tom Kench alone, so Trinity Force. Now, obviously, that would be better against the stat stealing from the support Trundle, from the Chani, but not really ideal when it comes to that 5v5 team fight that KT is going to have. KT really doesn't have a good target for Shen, though. No distinct or Vlad. Yeah, maybe. But no Sivir this game to really power up that Vlad and help him get into the back line. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, there's not that much peel for the Jhin, and you might think, well, Shen ultimate, but realistically, the best way to peel for Jhin is for Vlad to Ghost Flash Proto Belt Shen ult on top of the enemy team and have Jhin, you know, multiple people having to try to peel them away. So I think very much Fly is going to be the target of the Stan United this game.
Peel by aggression.
I have to say that I'm not the biggest fan of the KT comp. His score actually gets that crap stolen.
Yeah, and he takes a lot of damage, too, from Ambition. Has to flash over the wall.
Whoa. Tricky by Ambition there, just triggering the Drake and seeing if it was going to finish him off. Score now.
Welcome reward.
Is it the red buff? Ambition may be able to take this, but
Ambition finds Fly now.
Red
a little bit of damage, a little bit of trading. Yep.
I definitely would have preferred a Lucian or a Sivir here for KT, just because everybody else from KT probably going to be going in, and Trundle not the best realistically at peeling. For an AD carry, not compared to a Tom Kench and not compared to a Braum, so he's mostly there just to make Cuvée squishy and get him very quickly killed. But with Shen and Elise and Vladimir all trying to get into the enemy backline, Arrow might be left high and dry.
Cuvée just TPing back to lane against his Shen. Trying to keep up on CS.
Shen priority went up in 6:14, and with the teleport changes, when you compare the Standing United channel time of 3 seconds to 4.5 now on teleport, and then you think about Cuvée trying to have an impact in the team fight, and you're talking about a 4.5 second teleport into a 2.5 second arm time on his W. That's already 7 seconds. So.
And that's assuming he hits the parallel convergence too.
And think about how much more Shen is doing during the 4-second difference between the two when he's getting the taunt in and potentially doing some damage as well. It's definitely a match that amplifies the advantage of the Stand United over what Cuvée can provide with the Echo with TP.
Definitely. Something that Samsung's gonna definitely need to play around a bit. But for now, things staying a bit on the passive side, but we're passing that 5-minute mark now, so the protections for the top and mid turrets are going down, so we could see that lane swap come in.
I wondered about a champion like Jhin. If we do continue to see more and more lanes swapping, of course Jhin has struggles trying to push lanes against opponents like Ashe or Sivir, so could see some crazy arms races in the future where, you know, wave clear on the AD carry is paramount, staying competitive, but again, we're very much in uncharted territory on 6:15.
Haven't really seen anything that blows our mind yet in terms of strategy, just kind of boring standard lanes, as I like to call them.
You like that?
You're a standard lanes hater, Monte Cristo.
I definitely am. They're significantly less interesting than lane swaps.
Well, I just don't like teams being pigeonholed into a certain style of play.
Of course. I mean, and this is, in Korea, we already had the lowest rate of lane swapping out of any of the major leagues in the world, so we got to see plenty of standard lanes here.
Yeah. But the war on lane swaps continues.
That's right.
Well, Fly taking a lot of damage from that Chaos Storm. He's going to have to back off.
Doesn't want to ghost or flash,
wow.
but wow, takes the extra tick now. Is at 100 health, so probably going to be forced out of lane. Could have just ghosted. Would have had that cooldown back up in 3 minutes time.
Yeah, kill pressure from a Victor Graves gank when you still have pool and flash up is not very high. So
we we're getting low enough that he could just pop the ultimate over a wall and killed him though.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I'm saying, like, just go ahead and use it, because even if you come back into lane without Ghost, it's not very scary to face Ambition and Crown, because you have things that can just not even allow you to not take the huge, admittedly, burst damage in the first place because they don't have the crowd control.
Staying in lane.
Still sticking around for the moment, yeah. Not showing himself until the minion wave gets right to turret. Slowly get health back, I suppose.
All the CS.
I mean, he has the Doran shield too. So.
Yeah. Now going back finally.
Yeah, but his tardiness on the recall is going to cost his team a blue buff.
So he's going to try to steal this blue buff away, though. Coming in, and he gets it.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Vlad doesn't need the blue buff in the early stages of the game.
Was a bit lazy from Samsung. They could definitely have warded that brush. I guess they had no wards up on reflection, but usually you check that brush before you go for a blue buff steal.
There's also you can also easily check that brush with your face, because either there is a 0 HP Vladimir in there, or he's not there at all and in base. So that is, I agree with you, Bob, a little bit on the sloppy side.
Someday, keeping up in CS with Cuvée for now.
When Someday's played this top lane Shen, he does love building the Tiamat into the Titanic Hydra, so he does lane pressuring. He does like to lane pressure as Shen, so that aggressive route.
And it will be a tank echo build here from Cuvée, trying to provide the front line for the Graves, since Ambition not going to be playing a frontline jungler this game, instead heading back over to his jungle roots this year. And he has been really good at team fighting on Graves.
Absolutely.
Armor is the main stat that Cuvée will need. Iceborne Gauntlet probably going to be the first source of it, but he needs to be the one to run at Jhin and stop Jhin from channeling damage, because everyone else is probably going to be kiting backwards. Graves, Victor, and Sivir have to kite back when Vlad charges in with that proto belt and aggression, but they can get onto Jhin, at least they'll reduce a lot of the physical damage from the side of KT.
Well, Score finds Ambition. Can't really do much to save those wards since Fly is so close by.
Yeah, 2 pink wards down. It's a nice pickup for KT. Yeah. On that Drake when things are really going to start looking to control and contest that objective. Someday keeps hanging back in the lane, seeing if it's going to be needed for a Stand United, especially with Score.
Ambition.
Yeah, trying to prevent Score from taking that blue buff. Here comes the Stand United, though. Ambition already used his ultimate. Wraith and Ruler coming up to try to save their jungler. Someday over the wall, but he finds himself in a 1v3. I think KT's going to have to be satisfied with that blue buff. Kuve, yeah, looking a little bit risky, moving towards the river like that, but he's going to be okay. Now Samsung coming back in again. I don't know if they can quite find anything off of this. No, they're just going to have to give up their blue buff.
And KT wanted to pull back right there because ideally now that they know that they've blown Cube's TP, they just want to pressure again with Someday, then go for the Drake.
Right.
So if Samsung couldn't convert that into an actual advantage and a kill and then take the Drake, now KT's going to have the edge, but here we go.
Yeah, Someday chasing. They really want to get this, or Crown rather chasing. They really want to get this kill, but they can't.
No hard CC, even though there would be big damage coming through from the Victor. Had his Chaos Storm available, just couldn't hold the Shen in place. They knew his flash was still up. Score snuck in here.
Nice pillar on the Ruler. Wraith is going to save him, though. There's a flash. Oh, Cocoon dodge. Nice play by Wraith. They're going to keep going, though. Ruler uses the On the Hunt to try to get everybody away, but Wraith is still going to die under the turret. First blood goes over to Arrow, and KT backs off victorious.
And that's the play KT was looking for when they backed off of the Drake after taking the blue buff. Just keep on going and try and take that advantage with the teleport you got out of Cube. And Samsung just a little bit cocky there, too far forward. Ambition's going to try and equalize with that first brick gold, though.
Yeah, they're going to get it too. So Samsung finding their own source of income here.
An extra 275 gold across the team, so it's not First Blood's 400 gold, but does answer a lot of what went over to KT.
As long as KT also matches with the turret, which they're not going to.
Nope, not quite yet. So KT, for the third game in a row, finds themselves down a little bit early on, but we've seen what a big swing can happen in, around 15 to 20 minutes usually. KT's been bringing it back in a big way. So we'll see if they can do it again.
Nice counterplay, though, from Ambition in the top lane. Making the most of it, considering that Someday never even went into the top side to clear out the wave after getting chunked out by Victor and Echo. So, nice push there.
The unique thing about Graves is that, okay, in the early game, a Runeglaive Elise will be able to do decent pushing with the W and then good turret damage, but you're just going to be stacking AD as Graves, so he's going to be strong in the pushing game all game long. And smart rotations like that do keep Samsung ahead this game. It's 1,300 gold and could be an Ocean Drake as well.
Yeah, looks like they'll probably get it.
Someday has Stand United, but nobody else set up right now from KT to contest.
Imagine the game where Samsung got a couple of Infernal Drakes in the last 3. They've been really good at controlling the early Drake, but the fact that it's been Ocean every time is frustrating. It's going to be once again Cloud as second, so staying away from Infernals mostly this series.
We've seen no Mountain Drakes at all, and only one Infernal now in 3 games.
Yeah. It hasn't been the best series for high-powered Drakes. So, once again, Samsung in a little bit of an early lead. KT a little bit of an early deficit, but it hasn't mattered yet. What does Samsung need to do to make this lead count for something now?
It's not much of a lead is the problem. There's not really a way to snowball off of this particular amount of gold.
Well, they find Kube, though, in the jungle. He could be in trouble. He's got his flash. He's got his ultimate to try to stay alive with. Trying to back off. Score chasing a Cocoon might do it. Here comes Ambition. Yeah, disrupting the vision, and it looks like Kube is going to barely escape with his life.
You don't want to follow into that choke point with the Chrono Break and the collateral damage are still up. But some pretty poor missed skill shots from Score this game. His Cocoons have not really been on point so far.
Chani, smart on the roam, throws a minion wave as his mid laner roamed, and there's one of those minion waves that Samsung would have missed out on. The KT's rotations in the early game allows them to get access to it. It's not a massive point, but each minion wave adds up.
Oh yeah, sure. It's helped Fly, keep up in CS with Crown despite moving around the map a bit. Doing some damage to that turret.
Sort of things that a lot of teams around the world could, a little thing, but a lot of teams around the world could pick that up and make a strong team even stronger. CS, so important in the early game.
Ruler in big trouble. Might need to pop that. He does pop the ultimate. Still has a flash. Curtain call, one more shot might do it, but no, Hachani comes in for the kill anyway. He may pay for it, but the Sand United brings in Sunday. Nice taunt. Wraith, though, picks up Ambition to try to keep him alive, and here comes Score. Arrow following still. The pillar goes down, but KT, no need to chase that any further. You got the kill, you got the pressure on, so why take the risk?
Yeah, go ahead, even up the turret score there instead of overcommitting. That way you can get back into this game when it comes to gold, and somebody's got to go back to answer Cube anyway, who's about to slam a wave into the tier 2 turret in top.
Doesn't have a Sheen yet, or working onto any Sheen items, so it's only going to be chip damage, not going to be any chunking of this top lane turret. Sunday walks back into lane.
Yeah, nice use of the Stand United there. Wraith again. He's been good on this Tom Kench the last few games that he's played it. And Ruler spell shields actually the dancing grenade right there, which set up the deadly flourish route.
Yep.
Wraith could have flashed Devoured, but it felt like the AD carry would be on 1 HP, so he decides not to use it, and now he actually has Devour to get Ambition as close to safety as possible, so probably was smart, despite the fact that he had to leave his AD carry stranded.
That might have ended up losing more. So, that will bring KT a little bit closer in gold to Samsung.
Yeah, didn't actually get that turret, so weren't able to equalize on that front. They split up and used that time to recall, get back into the lane, stop Cube from pushing any further and sacrificing any more minions into Sunday's tier 2 turret.
Yeah. So CS deficit actually for Arrow and Someday for now. Not a big one, but it is there.
Yeah, to be expected. Wave clear just not there for Shen, especially when he has to itemize for the Spectre's Cowl first. Then you are going to be losing the pushing war to a Sivir if you are a Jhin.
We saw Songyun play 2 games of the Jhin, was actually playing BF sword related builds, Essence Reaver in 1 game and IE in the second as rushes, so bit of extra AD for wave clear, but Arrow has been sticking with the Youmuu's build for the skirmishes and teamfight power.
So I feel like we're seeing a very similar game to what we saw in game number 1, where KT just waiting for that fight to just completely blow the game open. I suppose game 2 is similar in a lot of ways as well.
That fight's not as binary in this game. Worth knowing that Sivir Vlad have innate synergy, but Jhin Vlad have a bit of anti-synergy.
Yeah.
There is a world where this... Oh my god, is that a mini-stun? It is.
Yep.
Whoa, that worked. All right, Sand United coming in with a Chani. They force the flash from Wraith over the wall. Teleport coming in now for Samsung. Crown kind of on his own, gets emo-plagued. Arrow chasing, there's a bouncing grenade. Gonna be happy with the damage. Meanwhile, Ambition coming in the back lines. KT turns on him though. Ambition exhausted as he goes into the wall, gets chased by Someday. Arrow looking for the kill in the back lines, way in the back of that fight. Fly low, but still alive. Nobody's died quite yet, but Someday will. Wraith gets the kill. I shouldn't have said anything. I jinxed it. I'm sorry, Someday.
Licked to death over the wall.
Licked him.
Just licked him into the next life.
So that started so bad for Samsung. With the pillar position, it was actually a 6-second stun onto Ambition. He had nowhere to go. His dash was down at the time. But Wraith spared the blushes, got in the Devour open space, picked up a nice kill as well. So it could have been much worse for Samsung.
Oh, spell shielded. May not have even hit anyway. I think it did get spell shielded by Ruler. Yeah.
Yeah, even though Crown got isolated too, he had a quick flash there to reposition himself. He also dodged the deadly flourish from Arrow at the end as he disrupted the curtain call. Arrow turned on him but couldn't land that, so well played by Crown.
Dragon is up. It's Cloud Drake. KT fighting from behind again.
which is weird because they've been the #1 team in this league, a gold lead at 15 minutes over the course of the season. But they have been struggling in that category more or less in the last couple of games.
And in previous seasons, that was definitely not a stat that KT topped. KT traditionally did have that weaker early game and scaled into strong team fighting. That's why it's unique that this season they tightened it up. Most of that was a score and all his heroics when it comes to First Blood and his synergy with Someday. This seems to be a bit more of the old KT where they can really have that slow ramp-up time, but we've already seen it twice this series. There's always that watershed moment 25, 30 minutes in where they can also gain the maximum, get kills, Baron, and multiple turrets.
I don't know if I would call the ramp-up time slow in the last game, where by 25 minutes the GP was hugely ahead. They managed. I would say they're managing to turn that a little bit earlier in these games, maybe the 20-minute mark where they find the team fights they want.
Samsung maybe finding their second dragon in the game. If KT wants to contest, I suppose they probably can.
They're the ones with the TP.
Yeah, they could go for it, but looks like they'll give that one over. Cloud Drake going to Samsung.
Ocean, Cloud, Ocean.
Yep.
Wow.
It's rough.
This has been a very odd series for Drakes.
Scripted Drakes.
Just one KT to win, I guess.
Seem okay with that one.
Oh, I'm just surprised that all of these early game Drakes have really broken more in favor of KT.
Yep.
Ghost pop by Crown.
Yep, has to use that summoner. KT collapsing down on the bot lane. There's a pillar onto Ambition. He's a little bit trapped. There's the exhaust. Gets picked up by Wraith. Gets slowed right away. There's a cocoon. Wraith backing off. Here comes the Sand United. Someday entering the fray and fly from behind. This could be a kill onto Ambition. Wraith here. Looks like it's probably going to be. There's one for Arrow. Looking for another. He doesn't get it. Goes to score instead. Crown, meanwhile, finds the kill onto Someday. So they do go 2 for 1, and Kube getting some serious time with that bot lane tier 2.
Yeah,
or top lane tier 2.
Yeah, Kube has just been farming up a storm because he can't answer Someday, but at least he's getting something every time Someday goes cross-map. Hasn't been relenting, and even though he's been on the, Spirit Visage first Echo build, still managing to create the pressure.
Finally got the Sheen, which gave him that little last oomph to finish off a second turret. Notable that the only 2 turrets in the game have been Shen's turrets, kind of reminiscent of when you have TF mid and he loses both his turrets, even though he has that global pressure. Cuvée hasn't responded. They went 2 for 1, which isn't the worst trade in the world when you're picking up an inner turret, so advantage Samsung again.
And in spite of that pressure, just KT cannot get that outer turret in the bottom lane. They keep getting kills, but that is not the same value.
Ooh, gotta be careful here. Wraith losing some health. Still has that flash, I suppose, if he needed to get away. Yeah. Arrow powering up on this Jhin, too.
He's got 100% kill contribution so far, playing well. Yep. His teammates playing well around the curtain call.
Samsung, though, probably in the best position they've been in all night to win a game. We'll see. Curtain call. All right, Achani looking for a block with that pillar. Gets it. Ruler has to block damage for Wraith. And here comes Score from behind, but it's a bit disjointed. Looks like they might be able to get the turret, though, in bot lane.
Someday has teleport. We'll have Stand United very soon. Hard to tell the cooldown on that cooldown bar, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's, that icon makes it hard to see when Shen's got his ult up. Cocoon on Ambition.
Trying to poke them off. Arrow reluctant to walk up to the turret right now. They do know where Victor should be, considering they've got vision in the river. But still nothing, and looks like proxy farming is going to be the name of the game for Someday.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no more minions on that side, so Echo making a trip through the jungle.
Someday's starting to catch up in CS a little bit.
Here we go.
Yep. What does he have to?
Until Echo shows himself, I guess this is what we're going to be dealing with here.
When you have no turrets in your lane, it's so hard to have pressure. This is literally the only way they can have top lane pressure, is to be like, well, I'm over here, I'm being obnoxious. Someone needs to respond to these minion waves. So we don't see dirty farming too much in the current meta, but it's cool to see the return.
Here comes Crown, though, going to get spotted over the wall. Yeah, Someday going in, gonna get caught on the edge of that gravity field. He's in trouble. Chaos Storm comes in. Fly there to protect his top laner, but Kube looping around from the bottom. Someday may just be dead. Here comes Score to try to save him, though. Yeah, and Crown gets away barely.
Yeah, Crown got chunked out by the Hemo Plague as both mid laners blow all of their summoners in that play.
Wow. Fly, though, coming out the better, able to go back to lane and put some pressure on the turret.
Fly's been great this series.
Yeah, he has.
Really stepping up in these playoff matches because Someday has been struggling, at least in the laning phases of some of these games, and has been missing quite a few taunts in this one so far. And they need Score and Someday to start hitting those skill shots if they really want to maximize their advantage in these skirmishes, because those missed skill shots have now cost them probably a couple turrets.
Yeah.
The curious thing to see is that he was hitting, taunt flash after taunt flash when he played the same matchup a couple of days ago. And what's been notable is he hasn't been flashing. He hasn't been extending the range of those taunts for engages. Perhaps that's just not trusting that the damage is behind it to make it worth the investment. But
I just don't think he's had teammates around to really capitalize on it this game yet.
seems like that's the
Seems
way.
like it.
Well, he's missed on some of the dives, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
He comes in with the Stand United.
Fishing over the wall. And about 45 seconds until that Ocean Drake comes up now. You can see Someday, though, still able to push Cuvée back in the 1v1. Down about 50 CS, though. It's a pretty big deficit. Now about 40, I guess.
They haven't been prioritizing his farm this game. They've been prioritizing making plays, which has been good for kills, but not good for
Chaos over the Fly. Fly has no summoners right now.
It's got Hemo Plague.
Yeah, he's gonna live. There's Ambition Score right there, though. Cocoon onto Ambition. Fly, can he come in and maybe turn this into a kill? Looks like they might be able to do it. Deadly Flourish, pretty good. Tom Kench comes in, but he comes in a bit too late. Nice pillar, forces a flash from Wraith over the wall. And a good set of moves. Whoa! Nice curtain call from Arrow, gets the snipe, and that's going to lead to KT's first strike of the game.
That was so patient from Arrow, waiting for that last shot and letting some of the minions die into his turret. Ruler did not expect the curtain call to still be rolling at that time, and Arrow finds that last bullet and gets a kill to secure the Drake.
I was going to say that could also open up this turret. It will. So that gold lead that Samsung's carried for most of the game is suddenly gone.
Yeah, this was just Ambition. He thought he was clear to go defensive. Remember, this is his own side of the jungle, but Score lining it, waiting for the pick, gets it, and then Ruler. This is actually the Duskblade proc coming through, and he needs to hit one of those last shots. He flashes and still dies.
Oh.
Nice accuracy from Arrow. The Hachani has been really on point with the Trundle pillars as well. Not normally a skill you have to talk about too much. There's not much skill cap on the support Trundle, but he's been clutch a couple of times, no more so than the wall stun on Ambition.
Yeah. It's working out well. Someday still able to push Cuvée back in top lane, at least, keep him from getting over to the inhibitor turret.
What I loved about Arrow in that last play was hitting the...
Deadly Flourish, followed by the Hemo Plague onto Crown. Crown still with no summoners anymore. He used the Ghost, but it wasn't enough. And have we begun to see the turnaround from KT? Is this where it all goes wrong for Samsung?
Fly's picked up a couple MVPs tonight, but Arrow's accuracy on the W and his ability to set up those picks has been really strong for KT.
Yeah, the Jhin pick has worked out extremely well.
And what I liked about that last play was he hit the Deadly Flourish, and then he read Ruler. He said, Ruler's going to respond to this. He's going to try and actually save his teammate. So he actually reversed the direction of the curtain call, knew his teammates could kill Crown, and then turned it, or Ambition rather, then turned it around to actually just prevent anyone else from joining that fight and make sure they maintained that man advantage and still picked up a kill of his own.
Comes back to the communication that KT have been really good at.
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, it was all about Samsung being really clutch on target selection, but this series, KT's been on another level. And to your point, though, I think in 25 minutes when they got those first few kills, now another pick, it does feel like the scales have definitely tipped towards KT.
I mean, it's still a close game gold-wise, turret-wise, but yeah, I mean, you can just feel the momentum start to shift a little bit more than anything.
Well, it's just that over time, as we've seen in this series, KT just makes better decisions.
Here comes Tom Kench.
Arrow's tanking turret.
Yeah, teleport, bringing Cuvée down to the mid lane as well.
You really didn't want a TP right there.
Yeah, that was a bit awkward.
And Cuvée was really smart in the early game. Got 1 turret, got 2 turrets, but now he keeps entering top lane. Just doesn't really do anything. He's not going to split push and inhibit a turret.
He has a wit's end, actually.
Wow, he does.
In this game, which is not something that we see on most Echo players. As a result, we'll talk about that in a second.
Well, Wraith may be in a lot of trouble here. Ruler, Hemoplague onto him. Ambition coming from behind, force a flash away immediately.
Nice.
There's another kill for Fly. Jin picks one up as well. Exhaust on the crown to make things go even more in KT's favor. Cuvée doing what he can, but he's kind of on his own. Arrow avoiding the Chaos Storm. Score does go down. A kill for Crown, but Cuvée, his smile is going to turn upside down. No, actually he lives. He's going back in. He might still die. There's a kill for Fly. Why is everything rhyming right now? Cuvée running for his life. And KT looks like they've had enough. They're going to go for the mid lane turret. That's life.
That's life. Sometimes
Yep.
it just rhymes.
I guess so.
That time, actually, the taunt flash came through. Was on point from Someday. Almost snipes out Cuvée, actually, but he would have had the health bar to survive, but outer turret goes down. Suddenly, 2 shots got up. Curtain call.
Oh, Cuvée.
Oh,
One
Cuvée.
more. Goes back in. Predicted.
Well,
Oh,
bye.
bye. Get out of here.
That's about the appropriate response for that outplay
Like,
from Arrow.
I'm out after this
It's like,
game.
my people need me. I must go. Arrow's like,
Arrow's been great tonight.
I'm the man.
He's probably going to get the MVP this game. Still at 100% kill contribution
5-0-6 on that.
at 30 minutes.
Yeah, that Jin. Wow.
But the wit's end. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Obviously, if you're going to be in the 1v1 with the Shen, being able to stack up his passive, the Z-Drive Resident. Oh, God.
Yeah, whatever. Let's watch this replay.
I mean, this is all about a pick onto Wraith. It's another fight where Arrow's pretty safe. Nice taunt flash. First one of the game from Someday. Ensures the kill onto Ambition, even though Crown unloads onto Arrow and zones him from the rest of the fight. When you're the ones making the aggressive move, it doesn't matter that you don't have peel for the Jin when it's 3v5 to begin the fight. So, nice numbers from KT. Arrow able to come back and join. They get the kill onto Crown with another deadly flash from Arrow. Casual makes it look, but nice stuff from KT.
Well, he waited for the phase dive from Cuvée, then popped the Yomus and the flash just to get the flank. And then with the curtain call coming back up, saw some impressive play. But yes, the wit's end. Now, if you have, obviously it'll get you that passive stack up faster, which increases your ability to trade while shredding out the magic resist on the Shen, who only has 1 MR item right now. So with Cuvé's damage and the Iceborne Gauntlet, that's going to be a pretty good thing to have. It also sets up Crown for big damage in some of these team fights on the back line if he can land a good death ray. But on the whole, not a big fan, I have to say.
Ambition, ooh, gets majorly chunked out as he gets cocooned underneath the turret. There's the
Curtain call.
again. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, I think South Korea sent the wrong person to the Olympics. I think the most accurate shooter we have here is Arrow.
I don't know, they've already won all the archery events.
That's true. I guess they're not doing that badly. Cuvée. Yeah, the most accurate arrow was left in Korea, though. There we go.
Well said, though. Well said.
That's right. Well, there goes the inhibitor, and that may be the end of the series in 5 to 10 minutes is what I meant to end that sentence with.
Don't get excited, Doa. Ambition's still up at 10 seconds.
Yeah.
They'd like to get a Baron before they
know.
finish this game, but still KT cracking the base without a Baron, a testament to the poke damage that they are able to do with the very, very, very fed Jin.
Yeah. Someday just disrupting people to make sure his teammates get out with the recall.
Plus the passive on the auto attack when Someday gets lower does magic damage on that missing health, so at least there's some synergy again there with the magic to shred. In a different game, it might be an interesting item. It's very, very cheap as well for an offensive item, but it's not going to make the difference in this particular one.
No, I think, and especially because it really is more about the 1v1 than it is about the team fighting. And right now, KT is in a position where they can just force the Echo to team fight every time. So there's not going to be any split push pressure. Someday we'll be easily able to clear out a wave with the Titanic Hydra and then just run into a bush and threaten to teleport or stand united or just TP straight over to a Baron even. So I think that the efficiency of that item in this situation, if Samsung was really far ahead, I could see this being good, where they were the one dictating the pressure.
Speaking of pressure, KT pushing up the bot lane now. Already doing about a third of that turret's health and damage.
It's worth knowing that a lot of the item efficiency is also gated on the multiple auto attacks. When you're stealing away stats and getting match resist yourself, the item's very valuable, but in a fight, before you get those autos down, not so valuable.
No, not at all.
All right, curtain call time, and KT on the run already. Score tries to go for Cocoon over the wall. Can't really wrap anybody up long enough.
Ambition run away.
Whoa, that was a close one.
He's ready for that.
Yep.
When 4 members, including your tank line, are zoned away the moment a curtain call is channeled, that's bad times for Samsung.
The whole team just panicked.
He does have 4 armor pen items already, so.
Does help. All right, that turret's going to go down. Crown trying to get away, gets saved
Dive
by
time.
Red yet again. That's right. Stand United brings Someday in. He'll tank a little bit of turret damage as KT takes the tier 2. And they can kind of just keep diving this.
I mean, the minion wave up top is going to be a couple of super minion waves hitting in about 10 seconds time. At the same time, there's super pressure. It's going to be an inhibitor turret down and just another auto.
Oh, Fly. Gets a little bit low. Kube wrapped up by the Cocoon, though. So he can't get in and punish that. Yeah, KT backing off for the moment. With Fly so low, it's hard to keep the pressure on. And they've done enough, you know? They can just go and take this Ocean Drake on the way out and maybe start getting set up for Baron.
Man, so many triple Ocean
I
Drake
know.
games tonight. This is
Weird.
so weird.
Very odd.
No mountain in a series. That's a new one.
No mountain in 3 games.
Yeah.
And only 1 Infernal, which has been Cloud and Ocean left and right. But now with KT pushing out that top wave once again, and Victor having to deal with the super minions, should be taking a look at this Baron first and foremost.
KT can just apply pressure. They don't even need 5 members to apply that pressure. You know, Score has the Guardian Angel, can walk up. Not worried about the damage from the side of Samsung. And they can probably brute force this game without a Baron, but it'd be basically a guarantee that we see the end game if that Baron was to be picked up.
Well, you're so close to closing this out 3-0 now if you're KT Rolster. I don't think you take any chances. I think you play it out methodically and you make a statement moving into the last playoff match against SK Telecom on Friday.
And I think,
Yeah, third call. Ruler playing a little bit of DDR, has to use the on the hunt just to stay safe. Wow. That is bad for Samsung. Bye, turret.
and if you're KT, you really didn't even show anything in this series. They played
Yeah.
it very standard with their champion pools that we all know that they play already. There were no surprises. So if they have anything else that they've been training up, they've been able to at least save it for SK Telecom or even beyond.
And I think the mid lane is probably the epitome of that, because last season they were trying to ram the Poppy Zillion as hard as possible. That was their 6th strategy. They didn't have a 2nd and 3rd string. 2nd and 3rd string's looking good.
Kube
This could be
trying to
it.
go in. KT backing away. Hemoplague used by Fly, doing a little bit of damage at that, but not much. He has to back off, and Samsung doing okay at the beginning of this fight. Fly gets caught. There's Azonius. We'll see how long he can stay alive. A lot of low health members of KT, and I think they may have to leave off on this push for the moment.
KT just needed to go for the Baron. Now the
Never
inhibitor's
mind.
back up. Everybody from Samsung going back, but they will be able to rush out with the home guards. And so at the end, they're going to try and make a play.
Yeah, Kube's going to TP right onto the pillar, though.
Now
Fly
that
is there.
Now with the changes to teleport and how it always teleports you onto the ward or the turret on the side closest to your base, making plays like that with the Trundle Pillar is now much more predictable than it was previously. So nice blocking play there from Hachani.
Juve was probably hoping that they could maybe get a straggler and take Baron. Speaking of stragglers,
Yeah. Well, Ruler just zoned out, I suppose. And if they do that, they prevent Samsung from even getting any wards down anywhere in their jungle, too. So
Plus they saved the Gromp.
that's right.
It's a Gromp saving play.
Hashtag save the Gromp.
how many games this series have Fly and Arrow not died?
Whoa, speaking of dying, Kuve in a lot of trouble here. He's got the flash, gets really chunked out. That's a kill for Fly. KT, now that the top laner is down, can really put a lot of pressure onto the mid lane, or they can just go take Baron, I suppose.
Yeah, I think you go take Baron right here. TP's already down, even if you do take long enough that he is going to revive. There isn't any way to get him into the pick quickly. Fly on the hunt right now with the sweeping lens, and someday going for naked inhibitors.
Yep, that works. All right, it's a 4v4 as Samsung comes in, but someday joining with that Sand United. Fly gets into the back lines already. A lot of damage onto Ruler, and he is going to get destroyed. KT continuing chase. Nice deadly flourish onto Wraith as he's going to sacrifice himself, going deep into the enemy jungle. Now the great ambition chase, and he's going to get killed by Curtain Call. Arrow with another kill there.
Goodbye.
Wraith ulting out. Can he find Crown? Nope, not in time. Crown will die to score. And now it's time to take the Baron.
I mean, there were no good moves for Samsung. Their teleport player had died. There was going to be the backdoor of the inhib by Someday. So KT walk at Baron. Samsung have to make the play at Baron because they have no way of stopping the inhibitor. And the kills, and then the Baron will come through. So KT, 19-0 if they take this one down against Samsung since the start of 2015.
That is so ridiculous.
It's just a bizarre situation that, you know, we end up with this in the playoffs too. Two teams that played each other just a few days ago, and KT looking just as strong as ever. Let's watch that Baron fight again.
Yeah, KT doing the right thing and turning here. They actually really do want to fight, of course, in the 4v5 if they can. Samsung knows they have to engage or they're going to lose absolutely everything. So Crown does what he can, but Someday here on the zoning duty, just getting ambition away from this team fight. And he can just tank forever. His only job really is to walk at ambition until he gets that taunt. Curtain Call ends up getting the kill. One last shot onto Crown that gets a slow, which Someday
Deadly
here,
flourish as well.
yeah, can follow up. And well, gets one stun, but score not in time to get that second stun before he's able to pick up the kill.
Yep. And now that's a nice, comfortable 12,000 gold lead for KT Rolster, and they are looking like they're in a great position to close this one out in the near future.
The exciting thing about this series is that Fly and Arrow have been the most impressive carries for KT. Someday's done a job. You know, he got some farm on the gangplank, but it's been Samsung to some degree muting the advantage in the top lane that KT have, and KT respond with their mid lane and AD carry, who can go missing in some series, showing up big in this one.
Yeah, Silver Ultimate used as KT tries to make a play that will end the game, and wow, Arrow just ends Tom Kench. Wraith going down so fast. Kuve trying to get onto Arrow in the back line. Not a problem. That Jin is...
You can't walk into that fourth shot there.
No, you can't. All right, Ruler stopped up with the pillar. He's going to get killed.
1,500 damage, crit.
And yeah, I think that's about par for the course. So this looks like it's going to be very soon the end of the game as a great Kuve chase concludes. KT looking to finish this one off. Wow. You activated my trap. And that is it. KT Rolster will move on to face SK Telecom in the next playoff match on Friday to decide who goes to the LCK Summer Grand Finals. KT has made it every single time. Will they make it again here in 2016? As the Nexus goes down, that is it. KT will take the match 3-0. GG.
Had some really interesting telecom wars in the past, Monte Cristo, but this one's probably the biggest head scratcher because KT, 7 series in a row now, 19-0 lifetime against Samsung. They look so damn good, and I don't think anyone in the world has a true read on how good a team SK Telecom is.
Yeah, and they've been able to practice more on this patch in the dark, and in a meta where lanes are so important, we have some of the biggest, most talented laners in the world in Faker, Bang, and Duke. So if they can even just get ahead from the laning phase, we've seen how fast they can turn games and crush them in snowball. So they've been playing badly, no doubt about it, but with a week off to work on this and with some additional insight on their opponents, they may be able to take it still.
And Arrow, talk about an MVP performance. Yeah. What an absolute monster on that Jin. And
I mean, we all voted for him at MVP in the last game, and Fly got it.
If he doesn't get it this time, he has absolutely been robbed.
It was breathtaking stuff from Arrow. We've seen some great Jin play. Loken had a couple of games. Maha had one of the most impressive deathless performances in a loss. But Arrow looked great here, and There's another pick that'll have to be considered as
Oh, yeah.
Jin casually puts out 11,000 damage more than a Victor and a Vladimir. That's a number.
He was just so fed. But the setups, the zones that he was creating, and the ability to create picks were so key to KT's performance in this series. Arrow has been great. And really, KT this season did innovate using Curtain Call to zone people off turrets and just take the objectives. They were the first team in Korea to really do that in earnest.
I think Arrow was the first AD carry Jin to actually start the Yomu's build that's now become the standard as well. So Samsung on the other side of the coin. It's been a good season, their best season since the LCK started, but it ends here.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they took 4th place in this season. That's a dramatic improvement over not even making playoffs in the last time. They have a promising young AD carry and Ruler, and it's a team that has been definitely steadily on the rise ever since losing all 10 of their players at the end of 2014. That hurts so badly.
Pretty insane story. And Arrow very well deserving of that MVP for the final game of the night. 10-0-8 on that Jin. Crazy, crazy game.
Good stuff. It was fantastic Jin performances tonight, and
yeah,
we'll see if he's going to be getting that pick later on.
I think that's a definite one to look at for bans if you're SK Telecom, or just pick it yourself, I suppose.
Bang, an excellent player on the Jin as well, and CS-wise actually, he was consistently behind his opponents, whether it was Stitch or Ruler. That was because a lot of the rotations by KT were around Someday, predictably.
Ooh.
The accuracy in this game was just breathtaking. Here he is, leading the deadly flourish and hitting it on ground.
Beautiful stuff, man. I mean, again, just the way he was able to hit those skill shots, and in a game where Score and Someday were kind of struggling a little bit early on to land their skill shots. Arrow really picks up the slack.
Yeah, he did. He delivered mechanically in a big way. Arrow, not afraid of walking up right here, especially with the stand united on him, and that's just chained straight into a taunt flash there. Someday.
I cannot wait until Friday. Man, that is going to be a great match, I think.
This was the fun one where snap back into the final shot. Boom. And the last fight was the most amusing when Cube ran at Arrow and almost died straight up to auto attack.
It's like, sweet, I've got this AD carry on his own. This is where I'm going to shine.
This is where you casually almost kill a full tank Echo with auto attacks.
Now we're going to watch Ambition die to a trap soon.
And 1,500 damage crit.
Boom. Whoa. 1474, baby, on
overkill.
And 4th shot.
All right, well, pretty amazing stuff for KT, and it's time for an MVP interview, I believe. And we'll send it over to Joel for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. Despite putting up a good fight in the early games, Samsung still couldn't beat KT as KT picks up a 3-0 victory, and we will have an interview with the entire team of KT squad. So give them a round of applause. KT, congratulations on your win. Sunday, can you give us a comment on the win? It's really satisfying to win 3-0. But you know, I wasn't satisfied with my individual plays. But I think, you know, I have to give the credits over to my teammates who did a fabulous job today. We thought that Samsung could prove a comeback, you know, with the history of going KT's way, but you guys won in the end. What is the reason for you guys are still consistent in that? I don't know, we just have a lot of confidence when we come into a game against Samsung. But I think I really was carried by my teammates today. So something that we wanted to mention was Score, your battle against Ambition was something to really point out. And we always see that Ambition seems to be a little over-aggressive, and you really seem to take advantage of that. What were some of your thoughts on the game? Yeah, with Ambition, as you've said, he is very aggressive. And, you know, if you get caught by that, it's really tough for you. But, you know, at that right moment when you take advantage of it, you really do have a nice way to end the game. Is there a way that, you know, you kind of have a way of knowing where Ambition is pathing in this jungle route? Is there anything you can share regarding that? But you know, every time right before I sleep, I have a little image training that I do, trying to predict the pathing of what the other opposition jungler might take. And I think of creative pathing ways that I can do for myself. And it's something that I do as a habit. It's a bit of a secret, but if you see where the jungle mob is being killed on the opposite side, you kind of get a sense of where the other jungler is. So I think Score was being sarcastic about it being a secret. With Hachani, with the new patch kind of really emphasizing the standard lanes. How was the standard lane for you today? Today it wasn't bad, but I think I just did my own individual part, nothing more than that. But we always see that Hachani does a really good job with this part, but we always see you dead in the team fights. Yeah, there was a situation where they could have killed Arrow, but they decided to kill me first. You would think that killing the ADC would be a profit for them, but they always start to kill me first. I don't know. I guess I just die easily. I think this is a situation where you really carried with your deaths, Hachani. And we can't forget to mention concerning your health on your feet right now. How is it right now? With the foot, most of the pains are gone, and they said, but if I have a week remaining on this pain, and I think I'll be fine with the injury.
Stylish.
This is a very suitable item that we saw with the Samsung teammates back in the day. If we can have a talk with Fly. You really showed an outstanding game today with your plays, and you picked up the MVP for the first and second game. I'm really satisfied with how I played today, and I think I really played up to the point that I really wanted to play, which got me the MVPs today. Another thing we wanted to mention, that your battle against Crown, and we seem to see from you very comfortable against your matchup against Crown. With the matchup, I wasn't trying to be underconfident but overconfident, but it was more the champion picks that I had picked out which gave me the confidence over Crown. Did you really think that your Vladimir pick was the right pick to choose in your situation? I just picked the champions that I was confident with at the time. So you weren't really worried about the team composition, but you were just worried about what you were confident with. Yeah, I think that's what I was waiting for. In the second set, you showed a very nice Talia play. And can you share a little information about the champion? Personally, I didn't want to play Talia in the second game, but the coaching staff kind of forced me to play it. But I have this saying of I will never lose a game when I play Talia. And I think I'm really growing in confidence nowadays. And I was confident against playing against Crown today. Well, regardless of the picks that he wants to play or don't want to play, he'll still get a win. And if we can have a discussion with Arrow. In the second set and third set, you showed a really outstanding play with Jin. In the third game? If I look back, I think out of all the Jin games that I've played so far, this was definitely the best one I played. You showed a spool of highlights with the Jin. Did you have a little more focused practice with Jin? Well, it wasn't necessarily a focused practice with Jin, but but I was just kind of going with my instincts when I was shooting with Jin, and it turned out good.
이것에 대해서 혹시 다른 생각을 하고 계시나요? 어떤 재밌는 픽이나 더 전략적인 픽에
Is there any other kind of picks that you have in mind?
그 수합을 하게 되면 초반에 손해 봐서 라인전이 중요시 되잖아요.
But with the standard lanes nowadays,
상성 관계를 좀 찾아야 되니까
I think there's a need to search for a very good standard laning ADCs, and that's what I'm looking for.
그리고 정말 개인적으로 궁금한 게
Something I'm personally curious about is
플라이 선수나 에로 선수에 대한 분석도 굉장히 많고
there's a lot of observations on the Fly and Arrow, but they talk about that you two are very talented, but there's no specific color that you guys have as players.
그렇죠. 그렇게 색깔이 없다고 이제 단점으로 표현하자면
Well, you kind of say that I don't have a specific color, but if you look at it in a positive way, that just means I'm just flatly talented, and I think that's something to take back as a compliment either way.
너무 잘하셨어요.
감사합니다.
네, 알겠습니다. 그러면 오늘 경기 진짜 시원하게
Well, you got a very clean victory today,
대표에서
and as captain,
경기가 있어서 사실 빡빡한 일정이
can you give us a comment on the rest of the games that you have left over?
네.
내일에 다들 아시다시피
Well, 2 days later, as you all know, we are up against SKT,
올해는 다르다는 걸 꼭 보여드리겠습니다.
but we will try to show that we can win it all this season.
썸데이 선수는 아까부터 계속 약간 경기력에 대한 아쉬움이 좀 남으시는 것 같은데 어쨌든 내일 모레 또 좋은 플레이를
And that seems to be ended. Interview back over to you guys.
네, 오늘 승리한
All right, thanks for the translating, Joel. KT Rolster with some confident words, but it's tough, man. I mean, playing SK Telecom the day after tomorrow, the gauntlet is brutal. It's vicious, but KT Rolster is probably better equipped than they've been in a while to take down SK Telecom.
And what they really needed was to see that Arrow and Fly could be the big carries in this game, because KT needs that dimension if they want to be a champion this season.
Well,
There's
it
also
certainly happened.
the biggest form discrepancy in the league, you'd have to say. SKT's junglers versus Score. It's been one of Score's best seasons, and they've really struggled that position. So maybe it'll be Score, the captain himself, to be the difference between the two.
It really does seem to be the key. I mean, SK Telecom has relied on the strength of their individual lanes, but if you add Score into that equation, maybe the pendulum tips a bit in KT's favor.
And it does mean a lot to have those strong lanes. That's how SK Telecom wins games. But at the end of the day, having strong lanes is not as potent as having great team coordination. And KT has finished out this season with the regular season with 6 consecutive best-of-3 victories. Now a very clean best-of-3 against Samsung. So they've been on a hot streak, and I'm not sure SKT's going to have to come up with a lot to stop them.
Yeah, they are. Blank's going to need to play on a level that we haven't really seen from him all season, I think, and everybody else is going to need to continue being amazing in lane. But this one could be really close. Like, I feel like I just tweeted this, but I feel like we almost get 2 finals this season. We really do.
Yeah, it could be good. And just to bring it back to when SKT did beat KT before that big win streak, KT should have won that best-of-3. They were massively ahead in games 2 and 3 and threw at Baron. We haven't seen that same behavior since. They've cleaned up their Baron calls, and I think that may be the big differentiating factor.
And let's put the spotlight on one player, Arrow. Deathless this series on Sivran. To not die in that last game as Jin with no peel. He had a massive series, and Fly as well, like you say. Can Fly stand up to Faker, though? That's the question.
We will find out, guys, the day after tomorrow, the Telecom War, to decide who goes to the LCK Summer Grand Finals. It's going to be SK Telecom versus KT Rolster. It's going to be awesome. Don't miss it. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Until next time.